I'm Lyle Muller, the Executive Director and Editor of the Iowa Center for Public Affairs Journalism, or IowaWatch. And I've been here now 4 years. It's hard to believe, but it's been a great ride. IowaWatch is in its 7th year of existence, having passed its 6th anniversary in February. And over that course of time, we have talked with more than 30 students who have worked with IowaWatch on a regular basis as reporters and in sometimes public relations people. And it's been a great experience for them. I was just looking at a text from one of them who is looking to move on to another job and still has a great deal of fondness for IowaWatch. At IowaWatch, you can realize your dreams of having impactful journalism under your name, or if you're into public relations, having the ability to make something happen all because it came from you. We offer that opportunity at IowaWatch. It's a great opportunity for students.
My name is Haley Hansel and I'm a senior here at the university. I began getting involved with IowaWatch my junior year. I took a class with Stephen Barry. It was an advanced reporting and writing class, and that was really the first time that I got involved in in-depth reporting and writing. So the entire premise of that class was to take one topic and write a series of articles over the course of the semester. So I chose to write my stories on wage theft. And I really spent the time to talk to a lot of different sources, and then I got his opinion and we did a lot of work editing the story. And by the end of the semester, he had connections with IowaWatch, and he thought that it was right up the alley of what IowaWatch published. So then we worked with Lyle Muller, and we got everything edited, and that was the first thing I got published through IowaWatch, and that was really my introduction to the nonprofit. And after that, I just continued to work with the organization, and now I'm going to be graduating here in the spring, but I've essentially been working with them for a year and a half now. So the experience I had before I worked at IowaWatch, I was actually an intern with the Iowa City Press Citizen. So I really was accustomed to a daily news cycle. I did a lot of writing for them and copy editing for them, so really everything changed on a daily basis and you had to roll over deadlines really quickly. So kind of shifting the juxtaposition of working on that sort of a deadline to flipping to IowaWatch was completely different, but something that I was really interested in. So my very first story that I wrote about wage theft, I got the idea from a story that I wrote for the Iowa City Press Citizen, and that was a very quick deadline story that only had sort of a few different interviews, but being able to write that story really made me realize that I had a lot more questions on the topic. So being able to kind of transition from writing something really short to being able to really delve into something that I had a lot of questions about was definitely a really interesting transition that I liked a lot.
My name is Christina Ruth. I'm a senior at Cornell College. I'm a double major in English creative writing and Spanish. And I'm an intern at IowaWatch for the next 2 months, so a spring intern. Alright, so originally we were talking about just starting with news quizzes, which is would be published on the website weekly, every Friday. And so I started with my first one, which was about voter registration and the changes that occurred during the caucus months for 2008, 2012, 2016. The first week I was given the opportunity to work on a project. It was a campus-wide project regarding boundaries of free speech on campus. And within that first week I was able to stay on campus and get to interview 2 students and a faculty member talking about speech on campus, if they've experienced any hate speech or seen any experiences of that.
I'm Lauren Mills. I'm a reporter, assistant editor, and data analyst for IowaWatch. I started with IowaWatch back in 2010. It was the same year that IowaWatch got started, and I was a junior at the University of Iowa at the time. And I became involved in a project that actually took me till my senior year to publish. It was about nitrogen in Iowa's waterways and how that impacts people all the way down in the Gulf Coast, where there's a giant dead zone in the Gulf of Mexico. So I actually got to travel all the way down to Louisiana and interview shrimpers about how that impacts their livelihood, really, as well as talking to people up here about some of the efforts that Iowans are undertaking to try to reduce the nitrogen input, as well as folks at places like the Des Moines Waterworks, where they have to filter out the nitrogen in order to make the water safe to drink. So that was a really awesome project, and I had some great editing from Steve Barry, who was a professor at the University of Iowa at the time, as well as co-founder of IowaWatch. And it was something where I took the skills that I had learned in the classroom and working at places like the Daily Iowan, where I was a reporter for a while, and was able to sort of expand on those in a way that students often don't get a chance to do. Taking so long to do a project and pursuing it, so far, and doing all of the scientific research that goes into being able to talk about nitrogen in the waters, and to really be able to have someone who was there to kind of lead me through that process and fill my drafts up with red marks and things like that was a great opportunity for me as a student. And now that I'm back with IowaWatch on a professional level, it's great to be able to still work with students and kind of take them through that process for their first time and their first story.
I'm Krista Johnson. I'm a junior at the University of Iowa studying journalism and mass communication, also focusing on Spanish. I was introduced to IowaWatch after writing an in-depth piece for one of my courses, and my professor actually passed on along the article to the editor of IowaWatch, who then contacted me. When I wrote the piece, it was about medicinal marijuana in Iowa. I hadn't actually thought it was that great or that anything would come of it, and then all of a sudden I get hired at IowaWatch, so I earned a job, and then they got me published in 3 different papers across Iowa. I was recognized by the Pew Institute and nominated for a National Hearst Award. So all of this came about when I was just trying really hard to get an A on this assignment, so that was really cool. Since then, with IowaWatch, I covered my first caucus event, which was like way more interesting than I had imagined it would be. And now I'm working on a statewide project for them about free speech on college campuses. So this gives me the opportunity to work with other journalism students at different universities in the state.
Hi, I'm Madison Peterson. I'm a public relations assistant for IowaWatch. I got involved through my public relations club, Inspire. I help with our social media, and I help with event planning. We're planning a banquet right now, and I help write press releases.
Hi, my name is Erin Celine. I am a senior at the University of Iowa. I am studying journalism and entrepreneurship, and I have been working with IowaWatch for about a year and a half, 2 years now. So I started meeting with Lyle in February, and we started editing on my story, and I'd never had anything published before, so I thought, oh, this will be a quick process, we'll do a few edits and it'll get published. But it was a lot longer than that. We made lots and lots of edits, lots of changes to my original story, and then my final story was published in I think late spring of that year, maybe April or May. Well, when I was doing this story, I never expected to be on the front page. I was on the front page of the Press Citizen and in the Des Moines Register too, on the Sunday paper. And so that was really cool because I never expected that I would be on the front page of anything. And so I just went around and collected like all the newspapers that I could with my story on it, and it was awesome. It's something that I'll keep forever. It was just really awesome to see your work so prominent in like a really popular newspaper that so many people read.
Hi, my name is Tyler McClellan. I work for IowaWatch in the public relations as assistant marketing and public relations director. I did a lot of work in the banquet. It's a really valuable experience. You get to meet a lot of people within the industry. You get to practice your event planning. You get to practice your social media, writing skills. It's a very valuable experience at IowaWatch.
IowaWatch is something that gives you really great life skills and helps you evaluate your writing in a very effective way. I think anyone who wants to learn how to keep their thoughts organized and delve into something deeper in terms of a story, you should really look into IowaWatch because they're very, very adamant on keeping this investigative journalism. So everything has a fact behind it, everything is supported, and I think that's just very beneficial to know how to research, know how to apply that to your writing. And I think anyone really, if they set their mind to it, would love IowaWatch because they do also have a staff that is going to help you and wants to help you get published and have your work seen by people beyond just them.
I would say someone who wants to get involved should definitely do it. It's a smaller organization on campus, so I think it's really cool because you get to know people really well, and you can get a lot of opportunities because you're not like, I don't know, competing with other people for them, so you can have a lot of responsibility, as much as you want, and you get to work really closely with Lyle and Lauren, and they're always there to like offer you pointers or help you out with jobs or anything like that. Like they are really helpful, and so is everyone who else is involved. It's a good opportunity.
IowaWatch exists for three reasons. One is to do investigative reporting as a public service in collaboration with other media. Another part is to just raise funds so that we can exist, but a real important part of this is the component of education where we train college student journalists to do this work at a high enough level to be published anywhere. We act as mentors and editors, treating the student journalists as professional reporters who do work with impact. And it's a very important job for the students because, one, they can do worthwhile journalism, and two, it helps them position themselves for jobs once they graduate.